What if I told you that for more than 20 years, a woman walked through airports every single day, and nobody knew who she really was? Not passengers. Not his airline. Not even the government that issued her passport. She had the badge, the uniform, and the access. But the name she used belonged to a dead child. Airports are built on security and trust. Millions of travelers pass through daily, but there's one group that bypasses the long lines: the crew. Flight attendants and pilots use special lanes. Fast, efficient, designed for those trusted to protect passengers in the skies. Among them was a woman who seemed ordinary, quiet, and professional. For nearly 23 years, she was a flight attendant. She greeted passengers, closed overhead bins, smiled as the plane pushed back. Her record was spotless. No arrests. No drama. But her entire life was a performance, because she wasn't who she said she was. Identity theft often looks messy: credit card scams, fake IDs. But this woman played the long game. Piece by piece, she built the essentials of an American life. A birth certificate from one state. A social security number that appeared late in his adult years. A US passport, perfectly valid. Each document looked real on its own. Together, they told a story that never existed. The woman whose name she used had died as a child decades earlier. But unless those systems cross-checked each other, no one would ever notice. And for decades, no one did. The lie unraveled not at an airport checkpoint, but at a keyboard. It happened during something routine: a passport renewal. Part of that process is a death match. A database check that compares applicants against lists of deceased citizens. It's invisible to most people, just another line of code. But this time, that line of code lit up red. The name she used didn't belong to the woman holding the passport. It belonged to someone who should never have been alive. Because he worked in aviation, the alert wasn't ignored. It moved quickly. From the State Department's Diplomatic Security Service to TSA's Investigations Office. A special agent took lead. An investigative analyst began to pull at the threads. Why did her social security card appear late in life? Why didn't her birth record match her renewal form? Why were there small but telling inconsistencies? Slowly, a picture emerged. If the identity wasn't hers, then who was she? Leads pointed south, thousands of miles away, in Brazil. Through consular channels, fingerprints were exchanged. The truth came back. The woman was Brazilian. She had lived in the United States under a stolen identity for over 20 years. Now, investigators faced a delicate problem. She wasn't a violent criminal. She wasn't caught smuggling drugs or weapons. She was a flight attendant, a trusted insider. But that's what made it dangerous. She had crew-level access. A known crew member badge, KCM, meant expedited security. She could enter restricted zones. Cross barriers ordinary travelers couldn't. If someone could do that under a false identity, what else could slip through? Agents didn't storm in. They watched. They reviewed her flight schedules, tracked her arrivals and departures, confirmed her residence. Surveillance teams followed quietly, documenting everything. For months, she lived life as usual, serving passengers, staying invisible. But behind the scenes, the walls were closing in. Finally, the timing was right. At the airport, her natural environment. Agents moved in. There was no chase, no chaos. Just a quiet takedown. The ghost of the crew lane was finally unmasked. She faced federal charges, entering secure airport areas under false pretenses. To prosecutors, this wasn't just paperwork. It was about trust. She had walked through secure doors for years, powered not by who she was, but by who she wasn't. The case was unusual. The statute used against her wasn't often tested. There wasn't much courtroom language to lean on. But prosecutors made the argument. He exploited a weakness in identity systems. And for over 20 years she lived a lie inside one of the most sensitive industries in the world. The court agreed. After trial, the woman was stripped of her false identity, convicted, and returned to Brazil. And the statute? It became a precedent, used in future investigations. This wasn't a story about a single woman. It was about the system. In the US, identity is scattered. Birth certificates in one state. Social security in another. Passports in a federal database. As long as those systems stayed separate, deception could survive. But when they finally talked to each other when death records met passport renewals, the lie collapsed. Security isn't just checkpoints and bag searches. It's data. It's patience. It's connecting dots across agencies and time. The known crew member program works when the identity proofing is solid. Random screenings can catch items, but not false names. For that, you need deeper checks. In this case, the truth surfaced not at a metal detector, but at a desk in a database. She wasn't a criminal mastermind. She didn't carry weapons. She didn't make threats. But for 23 years, she walked among us on borrowed time. The ghost in the crew lane. Caught not by chance, but by a system that finally learned to see.